Hi, I'm Ruban Selvanayagam from Property Solvers. You've probably noticed the growing conversation about large institutional landlords quietly increasing their presence in UK housing. Their overall share is still small, but the direction of travel suggests a much bigger presence in the years ahead. Indeed, this group of well-capitalised operators are now putting long-term strategies in place, supported by billions in pensions, sovereign, and global investment capital. And as the data in this video shows, the reality of this shift is often underappreciated. Let's get into it. To understand what's happening, let's take a look at the scale of the market institutions are entering. According to the latest English Housing Survey, the private rented sector now includes around 4.6 million households, representing roughly 19% of all homes in England. According to data published by the British Property Foundation, Savills and other PRS analysts, institutional landlords still account for only 2 to 3% of the entire rented sector in 2025. This is tiny compared with markets like Germany, where the institutional share is about 37%. Or the US, where professionally managed rental ownership exceeds 40% in many metropolitan areas. This small footprint is exactly why long-term capital is accelerating into UK rental housing. Sector research from Lambert Smith Hampton and Knight Frank indicates that build-to-rent investment could reach $6 billion in 2025, the sixth record year in a row. And based on analysis from Savills, investment into suburban single-family rental has consistently exceeded $2 billion a year, more than 8 times the 5-year average. When you add up completed schemes, homes under construction, and future pipeline projects, the British Property Foundation now counts more than 300,000 institutional rental homes in various stages of delivery. And forecasts published by Savills suggest that if the current pace continues, the institutional PRS could exceed 500,000 homes within the next decade. And it's doing so at a time when housing deliverability is under real strain, with rising construction costs, contractor pressure, and delivery delays affecting much of the wider market. So against that backdrop, here are the 10 major operators driving this shift on the ground. First is Grainger PLC. Grainger remains the UK's largest listed residential landlord, with roughly 10,000 completed homes and more than 5,000 moving through the construction and planning process. Completed neighbourhoods like Clippers Quay in Manchester, Solasta Riverside in Glasgow, and Gatehouse Apartments in Southampton show the scale and consistency of Grainger's build-to-rent model. The company's capital comes from public markets, long-term debt facilities, and income recycled from stabilised developments. A lower cost of capital allows Grainger to commit to multi-phase regeneration schemes that smaller developers simply can't deliver. Grainger aims to push its stabilised portfolio beyond $3 billion, with a long-term plan to exceed 20,000 homes under management. Completed schemes consistently stabilise above 95% occupancy, providing the cash flow certainty needed to plan for years ahead. Even during market slowdowns, Grainger has continued securing land, forming partnerships with councils, and forward-funding large developments. Every indicator points to deeper, not reduced long-term involvement in UK rental housing. Next is Greystar. So Greystar is the largest rental housing operator in the world and now controls 8 to 9,000 UK rental homes, excluding its student housing portfolio. Completed UK projects include Greenford Quay in West London, Sailmakers in Canary Wharf, and the Lark in Nine Elms, each delivered as multi-phase rental districts. UK expansion is funded by global private equity vehicles, sovereign wealth partnerships, and specialised European real estate funds. Billions have been allocated specifically for UK build-to-rent, reflecting high confidence in long-term demand. Projects like Greenford Quay have been delivered over multiple stages, spanning more than a decade. This approach produces consistent long-term rental income, supported by deep operational expertise. Greystar's pipeline contains thousands of additional homes progressing through land assembly, planning, and forward funding. All reporting emphasises long-term ownership and growth, rather than short-term turnover. Next up is Lloyds banking group Citra Living. Citra Living has grown far faster than anticipated and now controls around 7 to 7,500 homes nationwide. Completed neighbourhoods include Gainsborough Place in Crawley, Central Square in Cardiff, and Millbrook Park in Barnet, illustrating Citra's focus on consistent rental housing across multiple regions. The portfolio is now valued at approximately $2 billion, reflecting rapid scaling across 2023 up to 2025. Capital is supplied directly by Lloyds Banking Group, which considers Citra a long-term strategic investment. Lloyds has set a clear target of reaching 50,000 private rented sector homes by 2030, supported by forward purchase agreements with Barratt, Vistry, and other major house builders. This strategy secures pipeline visibility years in advance. Citra remains in the early stages of its growth cycle, but continues expanding across England and Wales. Every published update underscores Lloyds' intention to build a lasting presence in the UK rental sector. Next up is Sigma Capital and the PRS REIT. Sigma specialises in suburban single-family rental and now controls around 6,200 completed houses. Completed communities include Murray Park in Derby, Baytree Lane in Middleton, and Peelbrow in Bury, each delivered through partnerships with regional house builders. Capital is raised through the PRS REIT, the UK's first listed single-family rental trust, supported by institutional co-investors and development debt. This model allows Sigma to deliver large volumes of family homes at scale. Demand for suburban rental homes remains strong due to affordability and location. Sigma aims to stabilise between 7,000 and 7,500 homes, whilst expanding further into the southeast and the southwest. High occupancy and predictable cash flows underpin long-term investor confidence. The model has attracted repeat institutional investment thanks to its low volatility and consistent performance. Next is Legal and General Build to Rent. L&G has become one of the most active residential investors in the UK. Completed build to rent schemes include Slate Yard in Manchester, Mustard Wharf in Leeds, and Spring Wharf in Bath, all built to hold long-term income. The build to rent arm alone holds around 6,000 completed homes, with more than 4,000 in development. Capital originates mainly from L&G's pension funds, which require inflation-linked income aligned with long-term liabilities. Across the wider L&G housing platform, more than 20,000 homes have been funded or delivered across affordable, modular, and retirement living. This diversified approach positions L&G as a multi-tenure housing provider with deep institutional backing. Regional hubs such as Manchester, Leeds, Cardiff, and Newcastle anchor L&G's long-term development trajectory. All published statements highlight rental housing as a core capital allocation for decades to come. Next is Get Living. Get Living owns around 4,000 completed homes, with flagship schemes including East Village in Stratford, Elephant Central at Elephant and Castle, and Middlewood Locks in Manchester. Each site demonstrates the company's long-term district-scale approach to rental housing. Another 6,000 homes sit within planning and development, supported by backers including APG, Qatari DR, and Delancey. These investors target stable, multi-decade income rather than short-term asset rotation. Get Living's projects are delivered through multi-phase plans spanning 10 to 15 years. This structure enables the creation of established rental neighbourhoods rather than isolated buildings. Planning documents indicate ambitions to reach 10 to 12,000 homes. This puts Get Living amongst the few operators capable of matching Grainger in long-term scale. Next is M&G Real Estate. M&G manages 3,000 to 3,500 completed rental homes, many secured through forward-funding major schemes. Notable completed developments include the Keel in Liverpool, Edinburgh Springs, and the Lansdowne in Birmingham, each acquired early and held long-term. Capital comes from global pension funds, insurance pools, and private market mandates seeking steady, inflation-protected returns. Residential property offers low volatility and strong occupancy, making it an attractive long-term asset for the group. Forward funding reduces reliance on off-plan sales, giving developers guaranteed exit routes. This delivery method has supported construction through challenging market cycles. M&G continues expanding across regional cities and commuter areas. The business consistently emphasises long-term ownership and income generation rather than short-term asset turnover. Next is Blackstone Leaf Living. Blackstone is a very active institutional investor in UK housing, operating primarily through its Leaf Living single-family rental platform. The business now controls several thousand completed suburban homes across multiple regions. Leaf Living has expanded quickly through large forward purchase agreements with national house builders. Key acquisitions include substantial batches of new build houses integrated into communities such as Brompton Fields in Ashford, Stoneleigh View in Kenilworth, and Maple Crescent in Milton Keynes. The platform was involved in an £819 million forward purchase transaction in late 2023, followed by a £580 million deal with Vistry in mid-2024. These two deals alone demonstrate the scale and pace at which institutional single-family rental is growing. Investment is provided through Blackstone's global real estate funds, which typically operate on 10 to 20-year horizons. These vehicles prioritise stable, long-term rental income, making professionally managed suburban homes a strong strategic fit. Leaf Living's partnership model allows platforms to scale rapidly without managing construction itself. This mirrors Blackstone's established playbook in the US and Europe, where it's operated large single-family rental portfolios for more than a decade. Published investment reports confirm continued commitment to UK residential expansion. Forward purchase pipelines remain significant across multiple regions, heading into 2026 and beyond. Next is Heimstaden Bostad. Heimstaden controls around 2,400 to 2,500 UK rental homes across several cities. Completed holdings include Manor Launch in Birmingham, Wick Park in East London, and Arthington House in Manchester, forming part of a larger pan-European portfolio. Capital is provided by long-term institutional investors, such as pension and insurance funds. These backers value stable rental income, which reinforces the decision to maintain a UK presence. The company has slowed new acquisitions due to refinancing pressures at group level. However, the UK assets remain operational, stabilised, and part of a stated long-term European strategy. Heimstaden's focus has shifted towards operational performance rather than expansional speed. There's no evidence in their reporting of any intention to exit the UK market. Last up, we have Moda Living. Moda has delivered around 2,200 completed homes. Key operational schemes include Angel Gardens in Manchester, the Mercian in Birmingham, and Holland Park in Glasgow, each built around a branded, amenity-rich rental experience. The company operates through joint ventures with institutional investors such as Harrison Street. This gives Moda the capital depth needed to deliver large, multi-phase rental communities. More than 10,000 homes are moving through planning or pre-construction. Moda's growth strategy includes city centre towers and suburban build-to-rent neighbourhoods. Each development is structured for long-term ownership and operational management. The platform continues to acquire sites across major regional cities to scale the model nationwide. So before wrapping up, it's worth addressing BlackRock because the company is frequently portrayed as a major force buying up UK housing. Given its 10 trillion in global assets, the assumption is somewhat understandable. BlackRock, however, is not a landlord in the UK. It doesn't own build-to-rent blocks, suburban rental homes, or large residential portfolios. Its involvement is primarily as a financier and capital allocator, not a property operator. It backs housing through loans, investment mandates, and other capital structures rather than by holding or managing rental stock. One example is the 105 million loan facility provided to Outpost Management for its London build-to-rent scheme. This is funding support, not an acquisition, and the resulting homes are not operated or owned by BlackRock. BlackRock also has indirect exposure to UK housing through passive stakes in listed companies such as Grainger and the PRS REIT. These holdings sit within index tracking funds and simply mirror global equity benchmarks, not a strategy to accumulate rental homes. This distinction matters because it clarifies who is actually shaping the rented sector. BlackRock helps finance parts of the pipeline, but it's not building a private rental empire, and its role is fundamentally different from the institutions actively expanding ownership. So when you step back, it's clear that the story isn't just about who owns rental homes. It's about how institutional capital is reshaping the entire delivery system. And that's where the real shift is happening. Large landlords are now influencing land acquisition, construction timelines, and long-term neighbourhood planning in ways that the traditional buy-to-let market never could. Forward funding is giving house builders guaranteed exits long before completion. That certainly unlocks sites that might otherwise stall, particularly in slower sales markets. Institutional operating models rely on predictability, multi-day income rather than short-term speculation. The result is a likely move more towards professional managed rental neighbourhoods, longer tenancies, and more consistent standards. Institutional ownership isn't just about adding supply, it's altering how supply is produced. And remember, institutions still control only a fraction of the UK's 4.6 million rental homes. The influence is at early stage, but the trajectory points towards a much larger structural presence. These 10 landlords sit at the forefront of that shift, each backed by deep capital and long-term development pipelines. Their activity shows that this isn't just a passing trend, but a fundamental change in how rental housing is delivered. So a big thanks for watching, and if you want grounded, data-led insights on the UK housing market, alongside practical guidance on buying and selling, please subscribe to this channel. See you in the next video.